everyone, this is Eve again. Same outfit from the BookTube newbie tag. Just filming them back to back so I can upload them at various times throughout the month. This is Eve's Book Nook, and I'm here today to do a little sort of TBR, but really more of a book haul with some upcoming reads and kind of a pile of possibilities situation. It's an all for one. So first things first, I just wanted to talk about the books. There's two books that I'm kind of in the middle of. So my currently reading, my upcoming reading. The first that I am prioritizing right now is The Viscount Who Loved Me, which is the second in the Bridgerton book series, like the Netflix show. And the author of that is Julia Quinn. I'm reading that on my Libby app on my e-reader, or my iPad. So I'll post a picture of that so you can see. And I'm about a quarter of the way through that. I expect to finish it within the next 2 days or so. It's a pretty quick read. The other book that I have been picking up on and off over the course of what seems like years at this point, but I am finally crossed off the other like outstanding books on my TBR. So it's finally time to get back into this. And it is Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb, a beautiful gilded edition. This is the British edition. I want to make that especially clear because the American ones they're now publishing, same design, but without the gilding. And these are, I've always found that British copies tend to be stiffer. Not my preference, but I do prefer the durability of this because it is an 800 something page book, about 850 pages, give or take. And I do love the gilding and the American editions, though they are now doing the cool cover with a cool font and not the sort of like classic fantasy with a figural form, you know, sword and all kind of thing. This is just a better design in my opinion, but I don't know where I was going with that. The gilding, the British did it better. So I bought this on, I think, Blackwell's, or maybe it was Waterstones, but in either case, it was probably Blackwell's because they do free shipping to the United States. So those are the two books that I'm kind of in the middle of right now. And then I've got 7 other books that I've purchased in the last probably month and a half. My birthday was in July. I got some birthday money. And then I also went to Half Price Books and picked up 2 that were super cheap that I've just had my eye on for years. Or actually, well, I'll talk about all of them individually. So I got 2 at Half Price Books in July. The first is Elena Ferrante's My Brilliant Friend. You've probably heard about this. This is a beautiful Europa edition. Europa edition's there. I just love the feeling of this book. It has kind of like a rubbery cover. And this is the story of Neapolitan frenemies in the, I think, early 20th century, if I'm not mistaken. But it follows, it's a quartet of books that follows these 2 girls who, you know, transform into women over the course of their lifetime. And I don't know too much about it, but I do know there's a kind of frenemy component to their relationship. So that's book 1. I'm not sure how soon I'll get to that. It is pretty light and fluffy, or not fluffy. It's a dark, kind of a depressing book if I'm not mistaken, but writing style wise, it's lighter. I don't think I'll get to that quite yet. I think I'm gonna give it a month or so before I put it on my like actual pile of possibilities. Once I'm done with The Viscount Who Loved Me and Assassin's Quest, this is the one that I'm intending to pick up physically next. It is Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby, which is a novel about 2 men, ex-cons, who have nothing in common. One is a black man, one is a white man in the United States, but what they hold, and not that that makes them dissimilar, but the beyond appearances, but the thing that kind of binds them together is that their sons are a gay couple. And I think that that is the sort of beginning of their knowing one another. They didn't know each other in prison or anything like that. It's like they come out of prison, they find that their sons are dating one another. That's how they get to know each other. And then their sons are killed. And the book, if I'm not mistaken, is sort of a revenge story and also trying to figure out why they were killed. I'm going to make an assumption and assume that it has something to do with them being gay men in America. But it is a desperate quest for revenge to avenge their son's death. And I'm assuming, I don't know too much, this is again an assumption, but I'm assuming that there's a component of coming to terms with their son's sexuality and realizing that love should not be given or withheld based on someone's sexuality. That they love their sons, you know, what am I trying to say? What are words? They love their sons no matter what, and their sexuality should not change that. So that's this book. I picked this up on a recommendation from, I believe her name is Beth Morvant, who has a booktube channel that's pretty new. She read it in a bookshelf challenge that she was doing and just raved about it, and her recommendation was enough for me to like actively go and seek it out. And I found a great hardcover version. Okay, and then I have 5 more books. These 5 were all a bulk purchase with my birthday money from my parents. They were like, we don't know what to get you this year. We're giving you a Visa gift card. And I was like, heck yes. That means I'm getting some books. So I bought these on Blackwell's because whenever I get gift money, or like gift cards that are like Visa gift cards, I put them towards British editions of books that I've wanted design-wise. The first is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. So you'll recognize design-wise, it's pretty similar to the book that I'm reading. The Assassin's Quest is the 3rd book in the first trilogy that Robin Hobb wrote in the Realm of the Elderlings. So this is end of trilogy 1, and this is the beginning of trilogy 2. It's book 1 of the Live Ship Traders trilogy, and this is called Ship of Magic. From what I understand, this book is ships that come alive in a sort of sentient way once a number of their captains have died on board. And so it's kind of taking like the soul or the intellect of that captain, and the ship itself lives and breathes, question mark? I'm not sure. This is a massive chunky book, and it's almost 900 pages. I'm not going to pick it up right after I finish this one. They are tied together in terms of their world, but from what I understand, this trilogy is independent from this one. Assassin's Quest follows Fitz, who is the bastard son of the prince in line for the throne of this world. And so because he is the bastard son, he has sort of a target on his back because his uncle does not want him to ascend to the throne. And this 3rd book in the trilogy, I don't want to give away who lives and dies, but there's a lot of political intrigue. It is definitely a slow trilogy. It is very character driven. The plot is slow, so please keep that in mind. It is 800 pages of world building, character development, and 30% plot, I'll say. But this world is so intriguing, and so it's cutthroat but comforting. And I think fantasy does a great job of that. But anyways, I digress. Fitz is a great character. He's sort of he has a morally gray quality to him. Right now he's good, but you can tell that as he grows into a man, enough has happened that he's starting to become jaded. And it makes for a really good read. So he's the main character, from what I understand, throughout the bulk of the Realm of the Elderlings books, but not all of them. And I don't think that he is a part of Ship of Magic at all. So it's sort of taking on new characters in this one, which is why I'm kind of like, we can put a pause. I want to just wrap the Assassin's Quest up and then get into this probably in the winter. I love a big chunky read in the wintertime. Okay, that's that. Next up, we have 2 Penguin English Library editions. The first is The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. This is a sensation novel. It's a Victorian thriller. And if I'm not mistaken, this is sort of like the first, at least Western, published thriller. I'm sure it's going to be a little bit slower than most thrillers today, which are, the whole goal is to shock and appall and twist and turn. I don't think I'll be as thrilled with this book in the traditional sense of the word, but I'm looking forward to sort of the investigation of that emergence into the literary genre. So I'll just read the summary on the back here because I really don't know that much about it. The first and greatest of the best-selling Victorian thrillers known as sensation novels, The Woman in White opens with a chilling encounter between drawing teacher Walter Hartright and a ghostly female figure on a moonlit road. From this moment, Walter is drawn into a terrifying world of intrigue, crime, disguise, and insanity as he tries to save his beautiful pupil Laura from the sinister plans of Sir Percival Glyde and the Napoleon of crime, Count Fosco, in one of the most gripping plots in English fiction. So maybe I will be thrilled. TBD on that front. But I love these editions, which is why when I do have, the gift money, I always dish out for these. They're usually under 20 bucks. The actual UK cost on here is about £9, $8.99. But then obviously there's usually a little upcharge for getting it overseas, over the Atlantic. The cover design here is by Coralie Bickford Smith, and you can't really tell, but here in this little section, this little section here, I have a lot of these editions with beautiful orange design spines with a corresponding cover color. And the design is always thematic to the book. Next is the other Penguin English Library edition that I picked up, and it is Ivanhoe by Sir Walter Scott. This is a medieval world of tournaments. It is about knights and sort of creating this sort of Robin Hood. It's not actually about Robin Hood, but Richard the Lionheart and his brother John. So there's some overlapping characters, but that sort of medieval historical fiction. And I'm looking forward to this one. You can actually see it's knights jousting on the design, which I think is lovely. I don't know, it's a very simple cover. It's kind of almost geometric when you look at it from a distance, but then you get up close and you're like, knights. So this is about the man Ivanhoe who joins the Crusade to the Holy Land in the service of Richard the Lionheart, and then the sort of politics and intrigue behind that crusade and the power struggles that go on amidst all the characters. So I'm looking forward to this one. This, just in case you're not super familiar with it, it's clocking in at about 550 pages or so. Again, I usually I'll read a couple classics a year. So this might be one that I get to this year because it has a sort of autumnal feeling to me. The Woman in White, for some reason, even though it's a thriller, I feel like it's a winter book for some reason. I'm not sure why. So we'll see. I'll cross that bridge when we get there. It might come up in a pile of possibilities or TBR in the future. The next book I'll pick up is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first in the Mistborn trilogy. If I'm not mistaken, this is sort of where to start with Brandon Sanderson. Again, chonky book. I've got a lot of really thick books here today. This book is about 650 as well. Really big font though. I don't know if you can really tell because I'm through a camera, but for the size of the page, I feel like this is a really big font compared to here's sort of a standard font. Can you see that there's a difference? I feel like there's a difference. Maybe not. Maybe it's just the boldness of kerning, but so it's 500 something pages, but I feel like I'll fly through it because this is a fantasy book. For 1,000 years, the ash fell. For 1,000 years, the Ska slaved in misery and lived in fear. For 1,000 years, the Lord Ruler reigned with an absolute power and ultimate terror, divinely invincible. Every attempted revolt has failed miserably. Yet somehow hope survives. A new kind of uprising is being planned, one that depends on the cunning and brilliant criminal mastermind and the courage of an unlikely heroine, a Ska street urchin who must learn to master allomancy, the power of the Mistborn. So this is sort of, I think, again, like a struggle against good and evil. From the sound of this alone, it sounds like there might be a chosen one sort of trope. It seems like it has a dystopian quality. It seems like a lot in one, but it is fantasy at its core, if I'm not mistaken. And this trilogy is the beginning of, like I said, where to begin with Brandon Sanderson, if I'm not mistaken. I've heard such spectacular things that I really just can't wait to dive in. And then lastly, this was definitely like an on-the-whim book purchase for me. I saw a recommendation on bookshop.org, I think. Or you know what, I saw a recommendation from, oh, I forget, Alice is the woman's name. I forget the name of her channel, but I'm pretty sure it was her that recommended this book or had it on her shelf. She might not have read it yet. But anyways, before I keep talking about it and not showing you what it is Dollar Gut Dream Department Store. It's a Korean book, so I think the pronunciation is actually Tare Gut Dream Department Store, but Dollar Gut, I guess, is how you would pronounce it as an American. The Korean #1 bestseller. The dream you ordered is sold out is the little kind of blurb there. And this is by Mie Lee is the author's name, which I guess her Korean name would be Lee Mie, and it's translated by Sandy Jusun Lee. So this is a department store where dreams are for sale, and the reviews that I've read of this, it sounds cozy in a way. It sounds simple. It's not super plot driven. It's just sort of, you know, various dreams, and you get to enter them. Each chapter, it sounds like, is sort of entering and then escaping from a dream. So it says, day and night, visitors, both human and animal, from all over the world shuffle in sleepily in their pajamas, lining up to purchase their latest adventure. Each floor in the department store sells a special kind of dream catered for each client. So we're following the new hire who's navigating this department store, some of the other department store workers, but I think mostly it's just kind of it sounds like it's like almost a collection of short stories. I don't think that's actually the format of it, but they're just sort of intertwined whimsy, and it sounds like it'll be a good palate cleanser from all of this kind of darker or heavier or more challenging fantasy and thriller and classical fiction. And just so you can see, like, again, the font is kind of average, but it's got huge margins, especially at the bottom there. And this is about 200 and a little under 230 pages, 243 pages. So this is probably like a, you know, a 3-day read if you've got a couple hours to sit down each day. Yeah, so that's my book haul. I hope you enjoyed. If you've read any of these, I feel like a number of these are pretty well known. They're not like TikTok popular, but they're popular. They're pretty well known books. So if you've read them, let me know, and let me know what you thought of them, good or bad. I'd love to hear. I'm gonna read them regardless, so you might as well. Please keep the comments spoiler free if you do share something. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are, and if there's one that you think I should pick up sooner rather than later, let me know. It was great chatting with you, and I hope to talk to you soon. Thanks.